taken the perfectly reasonable management adage that what gets measured gets done, and pushed it to such an extreme that the numbers are all that matter. As a result, and as was the case with Muir's chickens, the well-being of each individual, as well as the overall performance of the group, suffers. Moreover, this obsession with numbers puts society as a whole at risk. Modern physics teaches us that light can act as a wave or a particle, depending on the context and how it's measured. Likewise, human activity can be measured in many ways, depending on the perspective we choose to take. In business, we too often think exclusively about the bottom line, neglecting other phenomena: respect, collaboration, trust, social cohesion, that are actually essential determinants of achieving the long-term success we're looking for. Until very recently, the most egregious example of the quantitative mindset driven into the ground was the short-sighted but all too prevalent belief that the CEO's only responsibility is to increase shareholder value. This obsession with a single metric, return on investment, has meant that, for the past several decades, other stakeholders, the customers, the community, the employees, the environment, have gotten the short end of the stick. Making matters far worse, especially in new and disruptive industries, the numbers guy is often hidden inside a machine, literally an algorithm. Similarly, medical treatment algorithms have resulted in certain advances, but in too many cases have compromised personalized medical care and, in some worst-case scenarios, led to unnecessary death. Looming over our numbers-obsessed society is another overly revered metric, GDP, that tells us nothing about social progress or quality of life or any other meaningful benchmark. All GDP tells you is how much stuff gets produced. According to this narrow and myopic metric, the value of mastering the violin, or of teaching children to read, or of making sure they have clean air to breathe, is nothing compared to the value of producing tons of steel or rubber or what have you. And this value distortion holds true even when the valued commodities are taken to the desert and blown up, which is the kind of thing nations often find themselves doing when they value quantitative goals over human principles. Extend the mindless pursuit of higher GDP numbers globally, and you find yourself staring down the biggest big-picture question of them all, which is whether our species will survive. In 2019, the United Nations released a study authored by its Intergovernmental Science Policy Platform on Biodiversity and Ecosystem Services, drafted by a host of social and physical science experts, which offered a grim reality check on the future of our planet by the numbers. More than 1 million species, 1/8 of all of Earth's plants, insects, and animals, face extinction in just a matter of decades. The authors of this landmark study concluded without equivocation that the relentless global pursuit of economic growth is driving the collapse of life on Earth. Separately and together, we've spent our careers at leading institutions, including the White House and Harvard Medical School. Based on our experiences working in these challenging environments, we decided to write a book that intersects with the worlds of academia, healthcare, business, and government, putting forth a proactive methodology, think, talk, create, that knows no industry limitations or professional borders. In each of these domains, we've witnessed institutional deterioration and stress-related illness due to an insipid, mind-numbing, and hostile management style focused far too much on the numbers and not nearly enough on the people. As a result, we often find ourselves counseling professionals who are standing on the metaphorical and sometimes literal ledge, about to jump. This book emerges directly from our professional odysseys, which have led us to recognize and diagnose the pervasive common cold of our modern-day working world, the over-reliance on numerical thinking to the exclusion of all else.